Hi, my name is Lorraine, and if you give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, I'll just go in here. I'm just going to start in here. So I had a lot of information come in. I have a lot of information coming in generally, so much so that I have to write it down. And so I'm just going to get started. So on the November 8th, I wrote, "Transcendence is more than just an elevation of consciousness. It is the ending of a karmic cycle. We are ending a karmic cycle. We, as a collective, are releasing the past, then moving forward to the new." This was the overreaching message of the lunar eclipse in the North Node. And again, I have a very rudimentary understanding of astrology, but that was something that I felt intuitively, and just the basic understanding that I have of new moons and full moons, North Node and South Node, that information just came in and resonated very strong with me. Consciousness is not energy. Okay, so let's just stop here. That was the overreaching message of the lunar eclipse in the North Node. So that's the ending of that thought. This is a whole new message or information that came in. Consciousness is not energy. It does not embody energy, but it does affect energy. It applies a force to energy. Intention of thought has a force. It creates a force, for lack of a better term. That is the best term to describe this idea at this time, is that thought can create a force. And as we evolve and grow, we'll understand in different ways what that means. But right now, almost like physics talks about the laws of physics and inertia and all those things, and how exacting a force on something will move that thing. And I think I've watched specials or science specials or space specials where if you put a force behind something in space, that thing, because of inertia, will keep moving through space indefinitely, through infinity, to the end of space, or whatever that means, okay? That's the same thing with thought and energy. As soon as we create a thought, it has a force behind it, and it creates a flow or a wave of energy, which goes back to constructive and deconstructive interference. A positive thought being constructive, and a negative thought being deconstructive, and how they work for or against each other, okay? Then on 11/10, I had a vision, and I'll just show you really quick. I'll do a picture-in-picture. This is it. And I read the book by Michael Newton a long time ago, about 7 years ago now, Journey of the Soul, or Journey of Souls. And within the book, it's past life regressions that he's done with his clients, and one of his clients were talking about what it looks like when souls are born to the universe, or born into the universe. And he described it as like grapes hanging from a vine. And so that's what I saw. That's what this is, and this is exactly what I saw. And I was laying on the couch, and I closed my eyes for a minute, and I wasn't meditating or anything, but the second that I opened my eyes, there is this bundle of what looked like grapes. They weren't grapes, but a bundle like grapes hanging up in the corner of my living room ceiling, from the ceiling. And it had a light green stem like grapes, and it was the same shape and the same bundling of grapes, but it was more like a raspberry color. It wasn't like a dark purple. It was very much a raspberry, raspberry red type color. And it just sat there, and then it just moved across the top of the ceiling in that corner on the edge all the way to the other side, and then it faded. And so I just had notes about the color moved across the ceiling, more the color of raspberries than purple grapes. And I talked to someone about it, and she said to me, that's the weirdest looking probe. And I said, well, this one wasn't a probe. This one was actually something else. It was a message. And so when I thought about it for a minute, it was just the message of the new souls being born into this world or into this universe that will be brought onto this world, or are being prepared for this world. And I don't think this is not a world for new souls. This is not a world for young souls. This is a world for very experienced energies. And even as I say that, I feel like this is going to be a teaching world. Once we transcend, this is going to be a teaching world, an place for education, because eventually the whole universe is going to have to embody the depth and breadth of emotion and the depth and breadth of creation before divinity can reconcile itself. There's not going to be any stragglers, right? Nobody who doesn't make it to that ability or acquire the skill to maintain clear, centered, and balanced energy from this emotional body. So I'm feeling like those grapes, those souls, are getting prepared for what is expected of them in this universe, in their lifetimes, before they enter this world, onto Earth. And okay, so there's all kinds of information coming in right now, and okay, so I'm going to say it. I hesitate to say this because this is something that's very difficult for me to still work through. But from this place, I know that I go to many different worlds, worlds deeply steeped in negativity, deeply steeped in separation, and I go there to plant the seeds of unification. I go there to live in that life, experience that life, bear witness to those experiences for this divine source energy, and I start working with the flow of energy, however it's working on that world, to start transitioning it to balance. I know that's what I do. And it's hard because when I come out of this life and I'm going through the traumas and I'm remembering and I'm reconciling those truths, it's very difficult. It's very trying on the mind, body, and spirit, and I want to stop sometimes. But I know it's not my nature. The second I say to myself, I want to stop, I don't want to do this anymore, and I take a breath, I'm like, yeah, that's not even who I am. I can't stop. I just need a break, I guess. But so as I say that, there are many energies on this world that do the same thing. We go to and we work together as a unifying force, creating a unifying field. We go to different worlds. We exist on those worlds. We go through whatever traumas we have to go through on those worlds, and eventually we're drawn back together to work, and from separation we're drawn back together to create a unifying force and a unifying field, and to transition those worlds. That's what we do. Okay? And so I'm saying that because what I'm seeing is these people who have just are going through very challenging times. I know that we will soon be somewhere else, or we're currently somewhere else doing the same thing. But from this place, from this construct of time on this world, past, present, and future, I see it as, okay, next I'm going to this other world to do this. Even though intuitively and in my body, I know, I can feel I'm there now doing it. But I don't think everybody's at that place where they can step outside of this reality and understand that it's not tomorrow that we'll be doing it. It's now that we're doing it. Okay? So I hesitate to bring it up because I don't want to create anxiety and leading people to believe that the next lifetime they're going to be doing the same thing just somewhere else, because we are all doing it right now. Okay? So on 11/11, that was a very busy day for information coming in. It's also a Friday, so I have a lot of time to write and do stuff, because I don't have to do anything all day. But so the message came through, it was discernment. We are all being asked to discern at this time. And discernment is the most important thing we have to help us make decisions. And in order to make the best decisions, we need to maintain clear, centered, and balanced energy and protect our energy from being manipulated. But that's another thing. I'm not going to go into that right now. So discernment. So the secondary cabal's energy, care and concern, versus Paladin's care and concern. So I'm talking about the secondary cabal energy because the primary cabal energy is deeply steeped in so much negativity that they don't even try to hide it anymore. Like, it's just out there. It's just out there for us to see. Okay, there's no sugarcoating anymore. But this secondary cabal energy is very, very, very much sugarcoating and making it look like, oh, we're here to help you, we're here to support you. Here, let me give you this. See how much I care about you? Take this, let me give you this. I'm trying to help you, right? Just like all those people when I was younger trying to manipulate me into doing what they wanted me to do. Here, take this, see how much I care? Look at this gift, look at this shiny thing, look how much I care about you. I have your best interest at heart. You should listen to me. It's all a manipulation, right? Because what I know is my parents gave me the most important thing anybody could ever give me, their time, attention, and their unconditional love. Unequivocally, without question, without hesitation, my whole life. That's who my parents were, my grandmother, okay? So I know, and I'm able to discern between someone's desire to manipulate me or to support me, because I know from experience what true unconditional love is from my parents, okay, and my grandmother. Nobody else in this world that I have experienced loves me unconditionally like my mom and dad and my grandmother. Nobody has shown me that. I think people like me, I think people care about me, and I think people even love me. But nobody has the capacity to show unconditional love like my mom, my dad, and my grandmother. Without hesitation, without judgment, love me unconditionally. When I'm high and up on standing tall, accomplishing, they love me unconditionally. When I'm down in the dirt, when I'm at my lowest, when I've fallen, when I've made mistakes, when I've screwed up, they're equally behind me, loved me unconditionally, supported me no matter what, without judgment, literally without judgment. Nobody else in my life has been that for me. So I know the difference between someone who is manipulating me and pretending to care about me and someone who is truly committed to helping me be the best person I can be. Because I've experienced it firsthand. And I'm blessed because of that. I know I'm blessed because of that. And, you know, I think people, I did my undergraduate at Pepperdine University, and what I saw was a lot of people with a lot of fancy stuff and cars and clothes and all the stuff I wish I had. And I coveted at a young age, at 21, 22. But what I learned when I graduated from that school was that nothing that they have compares to what my parents gave me. Working class, blue collar. I never had a lot, but I always had enough. I always had what I needed, and that's all I needed. I didn't need fancy stuff. I didn't need shiny stuff. I didn't need expensive cars and jewelry and all those things, because I knew I was loved unconditionally. And I don't know if any of those kids really knew that. I think they got gifts and fancy expensive things so that to stay out of their parents' hair. That's what it seemed to me. The parents sent them someplace so that they didn't have to deal with them. Gave them money, gave them credit cards so they didn't have to deal with them. That's what it looked like to me. And that wasn't how I was raised. My parents were invested in everything, in who I was. And I've never experienced that since, and I don't know if I ever will in this life again. But I know it, so it gives me skills and tools in discernment. So once again, back to discernment. Secondary cabals, energies, care and concern versus a paladin's care and concern. A paladin of love and light, an energy that is committed to the divine. Okay, so it's one versus the other. And so as we go through this economic crisis, let's just say, what you would hear from someone who supports the secondary cabal or secondary agenda is beware, you know, kind of like hoard your money, save your money, invest your money, make more money. You need money, money, money. So make sure that you are doing what you need to make sure that you have money for the future. Make sure you have, you know, stuff your mattress, stuff your bank account, you know, fortify your portfolio, whatever that is. That is what they're promoting. The currency system. The currency system that I feel is enslavement. Okay? We're enslaved through debt. So a paladin who supports divine source energy, is committed to that divine source energy, would say, be aware and elevate your perspective. Trust in the divine. Trust in the process. Okay? So we need to trust in this divine source and that it has a plan and what that plan is. Okay? We need to trust. What's being asked of us right now is to trust in this divine source energy. Trust in this plan. Trust that this has a purpose. That we're not being tortured just to be tortured. It's part of a process of expelling the negative energy, revealing the negative energy and expelling it from this world. Okay, who we thought certain people, organizations, agendas were, let's say 5 or 10 years ago, and what that is now is completely different. You can see it if you can broaden your horizon, broaden your point of view, broaden your vision, and look from a different perspective. Just look at what's happened and how things have changed and why they've changed and what's caused it to change. Okay? This is man trying to force its intention onto life, lifetimes, Earth, Mother Earth, enforcing their intentions, their desires on this world, and using that force of intention to manipulate humanity. Okay? So I live in this world. I work. I have to buy food. I have to take care of my kids. but I follow divine guidance every step of the way. I'm listening to messages and I'm following divine guidance to help me, to empower me to navigate through this. So I'm not sitting at home not doing anything, because I know I have to have money to buy food and pay rent. But that is all divinely guided. How that happens, what I do and the way I do it is completely divinely guided by the messages I receive, and committing to those messages, committing to those ideas, or committing to the guidance that's placed before me. So again, on 11/11, radiance, when I channeled this, received messages from this Alpha Draco collective, I think it was 2020. That was the first time I think I received a message from them directly. I refer to them as Radiance. So I'm going to call this collective Radiance, the Alpha Draco, living from love and light, living from unity, okay? Radiance, the energy is communicating with me. We are at your service. So when they came in, they started showing me the different components of their collective across space and time and across the universe. They showed me their migration or evolution. I guess a little bit of both. Their migration across space and also the evolution of their people. The Alpha Draco don't only come from one world, the same way that humanoid beings don't only come from one world. But the Alpha Draco living from balance and the heart, who are coming or have come to Earth to liberate the planet from the Alpha Draco choosing separation, are from the same world. These Alpha Draco chose to transcend into balance, while those who chose to transcend into separation left their world to traverse the universe and promote their agenda of separation. So these Alpha Draco living from love and light and unity are from the same world as these Alpha Draco who are on our planet now, who chose separation, okay? This is exactly what the primary Cabal energy is doing, or has done, when they chose to establish their breakaway civilization as the Zeta Reticuli. So humanity right now is splitting the same way as the Alpha Draco split whenever their world transcended. Okay, so part of when their world transcended, part of the Alpha Draco chose love and light and unity and transcended to that next level of awareness. The other part, the other Alpha Draco that were committed to separation, chose to leave that world because they couldn't stay on that home world, because as that world's vibration was rising, they were not at a place where they can maintain their status of separation on that world, right? In order to stay there, they had to match the vibration of their world, which is what's happening here on Earth. In order for humans to remain on this world, our vibration has to match that of Mother Earth. No lower vibrations will be able to exist on this world. So those Alpha Draco choosing separation had to leave their world because they couldn't exist on their home world from a lower vibration, okay, at that lower vibration. Okay, so these energies who left their worlds to maintain separation, to maintain the idea of separation, the construct of separation, that choice that they made facilitates the need for the spiritual warrior. Zayco is also a spiritual warrior. There will be a reconciliation of these two ideas, truths, realities. Information comes in about, so information is coming into me about driving from the heart, the necessity of it when reconciling with Zayco and establishing the foundation of this new spiritual warrior. There is a complexity to it that is currently outside our scope of understanding, but will be revealed in divine right time, unified always, never apart. And then Zayco presents himself to me with these praying hands. Excuse me. So when I think about Zayco and I think about his role in neutralizing any threat to humanity, if there is a unification, a reconciliation with Zayco and his abilities with humanity, there has to be a very clear reconciliation of energy fields. These energies need to exist from a very clear, centered, and balanced place to reconcile with Zayco, because the way the feeling is, and I think as we transcend and grow more, it'll become more clear to us what this means. But there's something in who he is, how he's evolved, and how he discerns between light and dark, or supportive unifying energy and separation. There's something in who he is at a, it's almost like, who is Lorraine in this life, but who is the soul that embodies this physical form, and what is that soul's experiences? That soul's experiences direct this consciousness, and it's been influenced by the experiences on this world, right? Lorraine has been influenced by the experiences on this world, but at my essence, at Lorraine's essence, Lorraine is this consciousness that is connected to, or is divine source energy, right? So as my vibration rises, I become more clear in who this soul energy is, separate from Lorraine, and Lorraine begins to reconcile herself, her experiences, with that original source consciousness awareness, right? So this original consciousness source awareness that is within Lorraine, is part of Lorraine, is essential, is the root of who I am, right? And it empowers me through that source energy, okay? Who my brothers and everybody know as Lorraine on this world is the person who was raised by Judy and Gus Camacho, and who went to elementary school and junior high in Hayward, California, and who went to college, and who did all these things in her life. And that defines Lorraine, right? That's who everybody knows. But nobody really can identify this part of me, this source energy, the soul that has many other experiences, as Lorraine, because they would almost seem foreign to one another. They would almost seem, even though Lorraine's a part of this energy, it's very different. It perceives the world differently, the universe differently, because it has more wisdom and knowledge. It has access to more wisdom and knowledge, right? But it is an essential part of who Lorraine is, right? It's a building block for Lorraine. That what I'm trying to explain to you is there's something in Zayco that is essential to who he is, that is part of this source energy that resides within him, that makes him who he is, that maybe he may be aware of, or maybe he's not, but it's that component that is discerning light and dark. It is that component that is discerning what is healthy and loving and supportive and unifying for Mother Earth, and what's dangerous to Mother Earth, okay? And before any type of melding or unification with Zayco as a spiritual warrior can be made, you, an individual, must be completely centered in their energy and completely clear on their intention. Because it's almost like a final lock code key for these energies who are defined or have taken on the role in this universe as spiritual warriors. And on this material plane, they would be spiritual warriors. From higher levels of consciousness, we will call them archangels or angels. They embody that energy. So in order to access this higher level of gift, source energy, I want to say power, but that's not accurate. It's vernacular, it's a vocabulary that we might understand, but it's truly not inaccurate, because power implies overpowering. Power implies power over someone, and that's not what this is. But it is powerful. But in order to access this type of energy from this level of physical, I don't want to say, it's not this level of consciousness, from this material plane, no physical energy, no physical body has embodied this type of energy on this plane of existence as of yet in the universe. This will be the first time that this type of power is going to be allowed within a physical form. Okay? And Zayco is one half. Humanity is the other half of the whole that makes this possible. And as we evolve even from this place, this will change. But this is where it starts. This is where it has to start. There has to be because this depth and breadth of emotion, it can go awry. Like, think about the zeta reticuli. It can go awry. So Zayco is like a safeguard to make sure that once we get access to this from this plane of existence, because the physical body can be manipulated. The physical body, we see it all around us on this world. We see it all around us on this world, the manipulation. It's intense and it's everywhere. So Zayco is a safeguard to make sure that it doesn't go awry. Let's put it that way. Okay, I don't want to keep trying to explain something that I don't have words for. Okay, because this is energy coming through. I can feel it in my body. I know it. I feel it. But to articulate it can be very challenging. But you kind of get the idea of what I'm saying, right? I'm assuming. Okay. If not, I'm sure it'll come up again, and maybe I'll be able to be more specific. But right now, I'm just going to stop there. So, again, and then I saw Zayco, and he had these praying hands. So then, this is like last week sometime, I had this, I was watching these videos on like one of the social media channels, platforms, and someone was doing a reading, and they were only showing their hands, and the hands on this one person, his hands were all red, like his fingers were all red, and I'm like, what is going on? Why are his fingers? It looked like he dipped his hands in Kool-Aid. Anybody who's my age, who's ever made Kool-Aid as a kid, if you stick your fingers in the powder, it colors your fingers, whatever color the powder is, whether it's like strawberry or lime or whatever. You can be red, green, yellow, depending on the flavor, right? It looked like he had dipped his fingers in Kool-Aid all the way up to, like, almost up to his hand, up to his knuckles up here, but not quite. And I'm like, oh my God, he must have made something. And he couldn't get it off, so he's like, I'm just going to do this. I don't care. Because I would, right? I'm not going to stop and not do it just because my fingers are all discolored because I was cooking or baking or whatever, right? And so I was like, oh, he must have been cooking something. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I'm watching another one. And it was older lady, older hands, but she had, it was weird. It was very purple. Her hands had, oops, you can't see my hands. So it was like purple. So when you're older, you might get age spots, which is no big deal. But then there's like this purple that was coming across her hands. And it was like very, not very pleasant to look at. Let's put it that way. And it didn't look like bruises, because you know how if you hit something or slam your hand, how a bruise is going to look. It was very, didn't have straight lines, wasn't round. It was looked very weird. I don't know how to describe it, but it just kind of came down on her hands over the side and across. It had like jagged edges, and then there were like spots on her fingers. And I'm gonna be honest, whenever I watched the pick of cards, this person, very loving energy, very loving voice. But I was like, there's something deep and dark here. Very supportive, very nice messages, very nice messages, very loving voice, very loving past, right? But but I kept on feeling there's something not right every time I'd watch it. I'm like, there's something not right, there's something not right. It was very uncomfortable for me. And I'm like, but the dichotomy, I was like, it's just everything, the words were very supportive, right? The cards were very supportive, everything. And I'm like, but there's something not right. And then when I saw the hands, they looked, if I'm honest, they looked like they were decomposing. The hands looked like they were decomposing. So then I'm thinking about the first gentleman with the red, and then this hand decomposing. And I started comparing, and I'm like, that wasn't. So then I watch another video by the guy's fingers aren't red. There's no issue. And I'm just like, okay, these are messages. I got to look up what different colored hands, like if your hands are different colors, what that might represent. But one of the most important messages I got was that here's a person that's conveying all these loving messages and gaining support, gaining favorable opinions. People, oh, you're so great, you're so wonderful, I love you, I love your messages, you're so supportive, gaining support. But really at the depth, there's something very dark there, okay? And I'm going to go back to that secondary cabal's energy expression of care and concern. Look how much I care for you. Look how much I care. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to offer you this. I care. I care. See how much I care? I'm giving you something. And then how quickly, how much time will it take for that to turn into, see how much I care, and into manipulation? I care so much, I have to take this right now because this needed somewhere else. We need to help this person over here. Or we need to help this group over here. So it's okay, I'm still here for you, but I'm going to have to take this. So you guys are going to have to tighten your belts a little bit. Struggle a little bit because we need to help these people over here, right? Which is what's happening right now, We're going without so we can help people over here, right? But this is the manipulation, one of many manipulations that's happening on, and it happens often through currency. But in this case, this energy, this person is trying to build trust. And once you trust her, then that's where the manipulation starts of information and the mind and the consciousness and intention. But see, I've always shown you how much I care. Right? I've always shown you how much I care. I do care. I just need to do this right now. I need to take this away from you right now. I have to show this person more time and attention than you because they're doing what I want and what I ask, and you chose another path that I did not recommend. And I care. I wouldn't tell you to do this if I didn't care and I didn't think it was the best for you. Why are you not complying to me, right? Can you kind of see that or understand that, how that can be utilized as a tool of manipulation? Okay. So, and I'm bringing that up because of that, but also it made me look up what colored hands mean. Like, what do red colored hands, what could they mean spiritually? And I found this article on different hand gestures, and I was like, oh my God. So I've often said before I start the videos, I clear, center, and balance my energy, and then at the beginning of the video, I clear, center, and balance my energy again. And I go through different hand motions. I go through this, I go through this, and I go through this here. This is something, I don't know, I was sitting here one day 2 years ago, and I just felt like I always did this, and then I started feeling like this message, and then I started feeling, and then when the raptors come in, always this place, I'm here, Gladiolus and her people. And so anyway, as I'm looking up what the hand colors mean, I find this website that talks about the lotus mudra, and I'll do a picture-in-picture. I don't know if you can see it. The lotus mudra, which is this hand gesture, okay. Which symbolizes the lotus flower, is used to open the heart center. This in turn amplifies our self-love and our feelings of love for other living beings. And I was like, okay, that's very interesting. The next one is when I, again, connect and show respect or reverence to the raptors. I always come in and I'm in this position. And this one represents, okay, so that's what it shows. The Buddha mudra, practicing the Buddha mudra is said to help you clearly hear your intuition. And then this always open when I come in and I'm with Gladiolus and her people, practicing the, oh my goodness, Abhaya mudra during meditation can help to uncover a sense of humility as well as cloak you in strength and protection. The okay, I'm going to screw this up again. Abhaya mudra during meditation can help to uncover a sense of humility as well as cloak you in strength and protection. And then the last one is, everybody knows this prayer stance, but every time these universal energies come in, they're always in the prayer stance. When they bow and they walk away, they always go into this prayer stance. And the gesture paired with the word namaste is traditionally used in India as a gesture of respect to one's elders or teachers. The namaste mudra also has many healing benefits like reducing stress and promoting balance and flexibility. Okay. And so I just thought that was very interesting. Like these hand gestures that I was drawn to, I had no idea they meant anything. I thought that they were a symbol for me in communicating with universal beings. I thought that was like an introduction, a show of respect, a show of, camaraderie, commitment to divine source energy, in some way, just like shaking hands, right? That's what I thought, but I realized that there's a deeper meaning. So I thought that was important to share that with you. And I'll put the link to the website in the description, okay? So next, this is also the 11th. I'm still on the 11th. I had a vision. I was lying down in my garden. So even though I live in Seattle, I feel like eventually I'll be transplanted into Texas at some point. And so I had a vision. I was lying down in my garden in Texas, which I technically don't have right now, but I'm sure I will in the future. There are butterflies all over me. I look like a colorful mound. There are more flying above me and around me. People stop on the road to look at the enigma, the anomaly. It's a message or an indication of a profound shift. And so yes, I am going through a profound shift currently, and that's clearly a message for me. But that is also, first of all, the influence I can potentially have on me, the world around me, as people stop to witness that, right? But it's also to say that there is a massive shift happening across the planet, and I think we all know that. People who are connected to that source energy know that, who meditate or pray can feel that. But we are all going through a massive transformation. Okay, excuse me. A being of love and light acknowledges the world around them, sees all aspects of the events happening, knows love, compassion, tolerance for these events, and trusts in the divine. The individual, transcending spiritually, not physically, maintains their connection to the divine through their heart, relinquishes control of this idea of separation, joins the divine flow of energy, and becomes a paladin of love and light. Upon entering the flow of energy, we become one with source energy and begin to exact a force of balanced energy, propagating, promoting, transitioning from a balanced place on Earth and throughout the universe. Transcendence is about relinquishing the desire to control. Transcendence is about relinquishing the desire to control, the freeing of the need to control, the belief that you are in control. How do we make the spiritual connection to seemingly mundane events? Okay, so then I have my dad getting stuck in the cycle, clean clothes, dirty clothes. Okay, so I went into his room, my dad's room, and he couldn't decide whether the clothes that were at the foot of his bed went into the hamper or the drawer. He had them in his hands and he kept shifting left and right. So he kept on shifting from the bed to the hamper, to the bed, to the hamper, because the bed and the hamper were like 4 feet apart. And he was stuck in this loop, back and forth. I couldn't break him out of it. He would get upset with me and tell me to let him do it. I had to call 911. The EMTs helped me and took him to the hospital. They determined that his body chemistry was off. The acid in his body was too high because of dehydration, most likely because of his medications. So he was on blood pressure, diabetic, and cholesterol meds. So just so you know, background, on November of 2011, my dad was diagnosed with dementia, and November of 2013 was when the episode happened, and he was 87 years old. His doctor went to see him in the hospital. He called me and told me my dad was speaking Spanish, only Spanish. He said he never knew he spoke Spanish. He had been treating my dad for at least 25 years at the time. I explained to Dr. Garriott that my dad's grandparents only spoke Spanish, so he, my Auntie Blaise, and Uncle Bernard were bilingual. But when they passed, my dad's grandparents passed, there was no need for the kids to speak Spanish. My grandparents only spoke English to the rest of their kids and their grandkids. The thought was that you are in the U.S., you speak English. My dad never spoke Spanish as an adult. He only sang in Spanish, but he was bilingual. Through that episode, he only spoke Spanish, even to me. He looked confused at everyone, wondering why we couldn't understand what he was saying. The PT had to come up to his room to translate for the doctors and medical providers. This lasted for about 3 days, until they were able to stabilize his body chemistry. I'm telling you this because I made a connection or had an epiphany as I was thinking about this story. So I thought to myself, it's not my job to change anyone's mind or convince them of anything. I'm here to transition Mother Earth into balance. I listen to and follow divine guidance. My father's body was thrown out of balance in this case by the medications he was taking. Detoxing him from these medicines put his body back into balance. He was speaking English again with clarity of thought. Our bodies are toxified. Food, air, media, education, we are being bombarded, and our minds are being conditioned to function from this deteriorated, mutated state as normal, conventional, typical, natural. I'm not here to convince you that this is right or wrong, truth or fiction, not even necessarily to make you aware of it. I am here to move Mother Earth back into balance, and through this process comes change. The change requires a phase referred to as tribulation in the Christian Bible. Tribulation is a vetting process. Every day in life, you make decisions, small and large, social decisions on how you engage the world around you, the people, things in that world. You make small and large decisions economically in how you spend your money. How do you honor laws, legal, natural, divine? How do you honor spirituality, religion, God? How do you honor the natural world? How do you connect with the divine source energy, and how do you manifest that connection in the world around you? I'm not here to tell you how to embody or execute your decision-making process. I'm not here to determine whether or not you are expressing any part of these ideas, constructs, or realities into this world. I'm merely here to say that every word, action, thought you experience in this moment manifests your future. It is you in every moment of existence that creates your reality. How you connect with the world and universe around you is solely determined by you. My soul experience and purpose is about transitioning Mother Earth into balance. All experiences on this world are prospering. All experiences on this world, all prospering relationships are to this end. If a relationship experience does not grow, develop, or prosper, this is the divine speaking to me, telling me that it is not to be. This relationship does not serve the greater good and or your purpose and must be released. This is a lesson in flow. When you hold on to things that are not meant to be, you are resisting the flow of energy and therefore the divine. This creates discord, disjointedness in your energy field and thus in your life. To honor the flow of energy is to honor divine guidance and therefore the divine. This transition is about solidifying your connection with the divine. I'm not here to tell you how to connect or whether you are connecting. These videos are about awareness. I can aid in providing a foundation to build from, but it is each of our obligation to connect with the divine, seek and find our path and purpose. You are your own best guide. I am for Mother Earth. So I wrote this down today, but this information came yesterday. Our belief or feeling of control is a construct bolstered by the idea of separation. And so that's one thing. The next thing was, I spoke about a woman in the last video that I used to talk to when I was volunteering at Mary's Place. It's a day center for homeless women. And the story I told you is an example of the varying perceptions of time. As I previously stated, on Earth, the construct of time is a tool to order the information of our experiences in this lifetime. The woman at Mary's place spoke about, I spoke about in the last video, ordered the information, experiences of her life a little different than you or I, but she recalled those experiences and spoke about them from her perspective. Then the message about toxins comes in. So it's built on from what happened to my father. Time as a means of ordering information based on perception. Toxins affect the brain chemistry, shifting perception and perspective, twisting it into a mental health issue. The toxins present on this world are the root cause of all health issues, mind, body, and spirit. They serve a purpose for the primary and secondary cabal energies. Anything not born of this earth or grown from our soil is not meant to sustain life. These toxins are being removed. The narrative of healing is a ruse. All healing comes from within and is rooted in your connection to the divine. Healing comes through the cleansing of this planet, the removal of the toxins. This healing comes solely from divine source energy. So when I wrote solely, I wrote S-O-U-L-Y, as if like the soul in your body, and which I found interesting, and I would just share that with you. The longer it takes, the more firmly rooted the healing, the stronger the foundation being created for new earth. The quick fixes are fleeting. They are not meant to last. They are meant to derail you from your path and purpose. And so in the beginning of the video, when I was clearing my energy, I had a very powerful vision that came through, and it was super emotional. And so I was clearing my energies, and these very large beings came in. But these are large beings that came in the initial, like, formatting, I guess you could say, of Earth. Like the very beginning of Mother Earth's birth, creation. So she was a beautiful sphere, but there needed to be some tending to the surface of the earth and maybe even the heart of the earth to help life start. And so there are these very large beings and solitary, coming out of isolation. Okay, so these very large beings are very, I kept on getting this Nordic vibe, but I don't know if they're Nordic. I just know that they were blonde. So I guess we as humans were kind of, if we see blonde hair and blue eyes, we associate it with Nordic. I don't know if they're Nordic because they're not, these are not social energies. These are very energies that are very used to living in isolation. They prefer it and they don't like coming into contact with many people. But, and so these large beings, they're solitary, but they're coming out of isolation to transition Mother Earth. And so I saw these beings on the surface that came as the initial tenders, not the Syrians. I think they were actually before the Syrians. So these are like kind of tending the soil, or creating the soil, or creating places for ice and snow, or different varying temperatures, and places for water and oceans. And it was very foundational, this energy that came in. But then I saw them unifying with the beings in the heart of Mother Earth. So there's 4 beings in the heart. They're very large, and they represent water, fire, earth, air, and I represent ether. So we are a unifying force within Mother Earth, transitioning Mother Earth. But this Nordic energy, isolating energy, came in, and he was on the surface, but then he went into the heart of Mother Earth. So I'm like, well, wow, was this these spiritual beings manifesting on the surface? Have they always been here? Did they leave and did they rise to the surface, start tending Mother Earth, and then withdraw back down to the heart? I'm just, I was thinking about that, and then I got message that this was a Nordic vibe, and then I came to the conclusion that yes, these are the same energies, they're just transmuting and changing, and I've said in past videos that they become whatever they need to be to tend to and care for Mother Earth. So they are, I guess, shapeshifters. Okay, they're shapeshifters, and they are protectors, guardians, and tenders of Mother Earth. But also with that, when this energy came in, I felt force. It was definitive and it was execution. There is an execution of force, energy, and divine law coming through from the heart of Mother Earth. The tenders and the caregivers, the stewards of Mother Earth. It is, and this Unapologetic came in last week also, but I didn't say it because I felt it was kind of harsh to present in that moment, but it was very clear and very much needed to be said. This word unapologetic came out again when I was engaging these large beings, and the message that came was, you've had the opportunity to do the right thing. So basically, we've had all this time to do the right thing. This cabal, primary and secondary cabal, have had all this time to do the right thing. There have been many, many energies who had many, many, many opportunities to do the right thing, but they were like, no, I don't want to lose my status. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to lose my pension. I don't want to lose my control, my power. I don't want to lose I. They chose the self over the greater good. And this is over years, this is over decades, this is over generations, okay? So the message is, you've had the opportunity to do the right thing. And so now there is a force of energy that is definitive, that is going to execute divine law, and is going to do it unapologetically. Okay? So let me see if there's anything else that comes in. So I only see these four beings, very lined up, force of energy, a force of change, and very stoic, very stoic. And again, like the Alpha Draco of that came in, of unity, of love and light. They were not, there was no language, there was no insignia, there was no uniform that would was going to keep people safe. It was the vibration. It was the vibration. Your vibration needs to reflect support and love of Mother Earth, honoring unity. Okay, you have to match Mother Earth's vibration, and you have to, your intention has to be that of the greater good, unity, source energy. That is the defining factor. There are no words, there are no uniforms, insignias. There's no way to identify yourself as a force of goodness, a force of love and light, other than your vibration. And these energies will move forward and execute divine law based on divine guidance, and how and where that is executed is based on vibration and divine guidance. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to stop here. Thank you so much.